Go with it.
Right here?
Just keep paddling, be the rubber duck. Don't try and avoid it too much. Be the rubber duck. Paddle into it, paddle into it.
What? A pair of herons to greet us.
Stopover in Booth Bay was multifaceted. We were going to get good food, take a shower, have a nice bed to sleep in, enjoy the 4th of July, get good food, and we had some gear repair problems. We had purchased a nice solar panel from Voltaic, 17 watt, that charged a battery that I kept in between my feet. The problem was the panel really wasn't given the charge it was when we got it. When I inspected it a little closer, it seemed like the fittings that connect the wires had somehow got some moisture in them and were getting a little corroded. So you had to jiggle them and rub them all the time to kind of get any kind of input into the battery. Well, for us, this was the end of game. So we called Voltaic. I tried to order some more wires, and they were super generous and said they thought maybe it was a warranty issue, and they mailed them right out for us. And thus our education in public versus private mail systems. But we did get our wires, and we're ready to go when it was time to leave the dock. We paddled into Booth Bay, not having showered or done laundry in 2 weeks. Supplies running low and salt encrusted in true dirtbag fashion. We were fortunate to get lodging at Fisherman's Wharf Inn, right on the water in the heart of Booth Bay. We drifted right up to the dock of our 3-star stay, pulled the boats up, carried our many dry bags up to the lobby, and checked in. They were very accommodating with our special transportation and our state of being.
John and I had a different route planned this morning. We left Booth Bay. The weather was calm and beautiful, but by the time we hit Lincoln Bay, the wind had kicked up. I was having difficulties controlling my boat, and we had to tuck into the bay and reevaluate. There's definitely more wind than I thought. We decided to turn north and head up the Damariscotta River for another campsite called Fort, and it was a push. I tried to just look ahead and try to not get discouraged looking at the houses on the shore that seemed as if they weren't moving at all. Rounding the point just before this tugboat facility, the wind really got us. Man, we still have quite a ways to go, but nothing to do except dig your paddle in. Keep paddling one stroke at a time. Keep on paddling, keep on paddling.
They may not have coffee, but I bet they got beer. Say it again.
I'll take some black tea and mushrooms at this point.
Anything, she says. Anything.
Oh.
Such a champ. Such a champ.
Thankfully, John referenced Google Maps and discovered the Lobsterman's Wharf in East Booth Bay, so we were able to pull over for a reprieve. We enjoyed the best clam steamers ever, and then promptly sat in their Adirondack chairs and took a short nap, waiting for the wind to die down. What a great stop. Of my valley boat, the Nordkapp. John always has envy and always calls it the sexy boat. But like a sexy lady, it can be a little bit touchy sometimes. To be fair, I only have really two boats to compare to. The first time John took me sea kayaking was in Maine and some of the islands where we were this time, and we had rental boats that were plastic, and I was loving it. This was the first sea kayak I've ever been in, so I thought it was fabulous. And John's like, don't you feel the flexing underneath you? It feels like a barge. But I was pretty happy. I was able to lift the boat, able to maneuver it. Then we went and tried some demo boats out in Washington Way, and wow, quite a difference, quite a difference. The plastic boat that I paddled did not feel tippy in at all. All of a sudden I felt like as soon as I moved my hips, there was a lot of action there. So the Nordkapp is like that. Can definitely feel it responds when I move. You know, has to be weighted right. So it is it's a nice fit for me. My knees fit along the side. We are, because we're carrying kind of extra gear on this extended trip, I do put my deck bag between my legs, so that's tucked in the cockpit, so that can make a little bit of gymnastics just trying to get in there. But otherwise, without that deck bag, it's super easy to get in and out of, but has a nice fit, doesn't feel super gappy. Yeah, the one thing that I've had challenges with this trip is a following wind and a following seas. It definitely wants to weather vane into the wind, and so I'll take 3 strokes on one side for every one. It seems like we've fixed that a little bit by putting more weight in the back, but in the beginning of the trip I was having a little tantrum. I was too far from John. He didn't really know I was kind of cursing and sloshing at the water, just frustrated with my boat and the wind behind me. But paddling head on into the wind, it's beautiful. Paddling calm seas, it's beautiful. Paddling in seas in general, I love it. It's a great boat.
So the other thing about these Valley boats is, I talked a little about how they're made, but they are fiberglass boats as opposed to rotomolded plastic boats. 90% of the boats you see in the world today are wreck boats, and they're rotomolded plastic boats. You can bang them, you can drag them down the beach. I could bobsled right down this hill and the boat would be fine. The problem with them is, as they get warmed by the sun, often they'll dimple or they'll go out of shape, and they're not very stiff. So when you try and paddle through waves and water, you'll feel the boat flex like this. As you can imagine, that means you got to work so much harder to get anywhere, because that transition of power is not going into a hard boat that just cuts through the water. Ours being glass, the advantage is they're very stiff, like a sailboat or a really nice motorboat, and they just cut through the water and go. The disadvantage of them being glass for us primarily is they don't do good with rocky shores. They're heavier to carry. You have to be careful where you put them down. You have to be careful about how you transport them, because you don't want to flex them because they'll crack and break. And then they're covered with gel coat, which gives them the shiny look to them, and that gets scratched and has to be repaired over time.
Scratchings from loading. You can see I've kind of marred it up here. I keep my extra paddle back here, and the paddle handle, even as careful as I am, scrapes that. So I've got a couple of scratches on there. Minimum vertical clearance, 4 feet.
The umbrellas.
Should be just to the left. Osprey, also referred to as seahawks, riverhawks, or fishhawks, were plentiful on our route along the Maine coast. They are a bird that's widespread, found on all continents except Antarctica. They're found in areas near bodies of water and build their nests typically in high locations up in trees or on posts. The male generally picks the nesting site and gathers the materials, and the female arranges the nest. Often you'll see osprey nests atop of navigational aids. It seems that government agencies have tolerance to allow these nests to be undisturbed. Generally, they mate for light. They are pescatarians. 99% of their diet is fish. Fun to watch them dive and catch fish. Many of the islands along the Maine Island Trail Association are osprey nesting sites, and certain areas are designated, certain islands even they ask to avoid until after July 1st due to their nesting. In the spring, early summer, a female will lay 2 to 4 eggs within a month, incubate them for about 35 to 43 days before they hatch, and the young osprey fledge in about 8 to 12 weeks. We're not allowed to go into this area as it's a designated heron nesting site, but we can hear them squawking up in the trees and every now and then catch a glimpse of wings.